Hi there, you're listening to Unnatural Selection, the show about newsy type stuff and things. My name is George.
My name is Tom.
My name is Adam.
And with our powers combined, we are Unnatural Selection. Make sure you visit us at our salubrious home on the web, unnaturalshow.com.
Coming to you live on our new Twitch channel in the pools and hot tubs genre. Newly created. We're ahead of the curve, guys.
It's like the hot tubs genre. Is that a thing it's in the thing? We're not really doing it, are we?
No.
I don't have control over it.
No,
but we're in talk shows and podcasts.
Yeah, lame.
That's apparently now an area. I thought that hasn't been an area for this whole time, right? Like we stuck the middle finger to Facebook and moved over to Twitch and was like, oh, there's no podcast sort of genre. What are we?
It's
Ground. It's what we're doing. We're fucking original content creators.
If I had to describe us, 30-plus-year-old men podcasting since the dawn of time, I would describe us as cutting edge. That's how I would.
Yeah.
Just the razor, just edgy fucking Ricky Gervais 2005, saying bad words. Does it hold up? Does it not hold up? Who knows? Whatever.
Isn't there like a what's the word where you have a multiple of one thing? Where a podcast of males is effectively what we are.
Well, yeah.
We've become our own, what's the word?
Cliche.
We use for that? Cliche or,
Yeah.
Multiple thingy. Anyway, language. So, gentlemen, we're here today.
Is it any wonder that we're being outranked by girls in bikinis in hot tubs on Twitch? Is it any wonder?
I wouldn't have assumed that regardless of what kind of following we did or didn't have, George.
Don't have.
It's what I'd rather be watching than us.
You got to give the people what they want. And what so what we're talking about, I feel like we would close on the hot tub stuff because it's nice, it's light, it's funny, it's less filled with existential angst. So we're a news and politics podcast. Hello, welcome. Sorry, 3 minutes in, we're giving an explanation of what it is we do here. And we have several stories for you today. 3, in fact. Is 3 several? We have 3 stories.
More than a couple.
I would say three's a couple.
I thought a couple was 2.
No, a couple of 2, Adam.
Two people go into a couple. If it's 3, then it's a throuple.
A tripod of stories.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Okay.
We've got a
tripod supporting the show. Like, that's more a structural term.
Yeah, I'm all about the metaphors, Tom.
We've got a Neapolitan ice cream of stories for you today.
Excellent. Which one's the strawberry one, though? Because that's the one that's shit.
Okay, so I think the hot tub streamers one is the strawberry one, but it is the worst one, but it is also the funnest one. And so given that we as producers should put the funnest thing at the end so people don't leave with a sense of existential dread and want to walk into the sea after listening to the show, I feel as though the hot tub Twitch streamers belong in the show towards the end. I'm happy to take feedback on this. Tom, it looks like you have something to say. Go ahead.
No, I'm more blown away that you think that the strawberry ice cream in a Neapolitan tub is the fun one. What madness is this?
Chocolate's the good one. Strawberry's the fun one, and vanilla's the boring one.
No, strawberry's the one that you just tolerate being there because it was more cost effective to get the Neapolitan, so you have vanilla and chocolate ice cream, and strawberry's just there.
What did strawberry ice cream do to you?
Tastes like ass is what it did to me. That's what strawberry ice cream did to me.
Okay, so
oh my god!
But given that there's a Neapolitan ice cream number of hosts, which one would we say that we all are? And we can't all say chocolate because chocolate's obviously the best. So
I am hands down vanilla.
You're vanilla, right? I was going to say
I'm the whitest guy you've ever met. Like I am vanilla in every sense of the term, in that I am white as fuck and also bland as fuck. Like I am the most basic of bitches.
If I go back a little bit away from the blue screen, I might be able to sort of get the red tinge going to get the strawberry vibe.
You're definitely more strawberry colored than I am, so that's definitely a vote for strawberry there. I mean, it feels like chocolate's the obvious favorite, so it seems like self-aggrandizing to say that I'm my chocolate. I'm my own chocolate. You know what I'm trying to say.
The reason why everyone comes to the ice cream tub in this scenario.
Yeah.
The ice cream tub being the podcast. It's getting weird. It's getting strange.
We are stretching this metaphor way too far.
My skin is kind of vaguely caramel colored. So I vote for chocolate.
I'm glad you said it.
Adam's a wild card. I think that's a decent vote for strawberry. It's just a bit of what you never know what's gonna. That's what I'm saying. It's a bit fun. It's a bit crazy.
You never know what you're going to get. It could be an illogical sentence where I can't remember the word for something, or it could be an incisive political commentary on the state of the Defence Force, which is probably
the former.
Yeah.
But go ahead. I won't shit on your segue. Go ahead.
Oh, look, and I love a good segue. Don't get me wrong here. No,
just
but
like
just like
Chief of the Army.
yeah.
Angus
So
Campbell.
this week, Angus Campbell. Look, this week it was an important day, I think, in queer circles, because it was. I'm going to pronounce the full thing rather than the acronym. The International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, Intraphobia, and Transphobia.
I believe Ida Hobart. Ida Hobart.
Ida Hobart.
How I would pronounce that.
I would say Ida Hobbit. I said like me. This guy's the fucking Hobbit.
Getting some Lord of the Rings vibes going through. That was on May
Ida
17th.
Hobbit in Lothlorien.
Now, I guess in response to over the last sort of 6-7 years, the Defence Force has been trying to be more inclusive, right?
Yep.
So let's stop the whole whatever the policy was previously. Don't ask, don't tell. That was the America, but we had a similar sort of, I guess, cultural problem with queer people in the Defence Force here in Australia as well. So with this day coming up, I believe the Defence Force actively said there was a I think it was like a memorandum or something that was sent out, some advice.
Yeah, they advise people to have morning tea gatherings to celebrate the queer people in the Defence Force, their comrades, all that sort of stuff. Maybe wear a rainbow pin, that sort of stuff. Yeah, it all sounded very nice and wholesome for the military doing something. Everyone enjoys a nice morning tea. And we celebrate the diversity in their platoon or whatever.
This is on May 3rd. So, and they literally sent this advice out. This is a quote from the advice they sent out to the Defence Force. By recognising Ida Hobbit, the Defence is demonstrating its support for our lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and intersex colleagues, friends, and family by standing against prejudice and discrimination and demonstrating inclusion, which is great.
And what the higher ups in the military said is, fuck that, we fucking hate inclusion, and we don't support diversity, and go fuck yourself, basically.
But they said it after the point.
After the fact. They already had the morning teas.
On May 17,
the teas
was when I home it was.
The biscuits have been consumed. You're gay now. It's in you.
Yeah, they enjoyed all the sweet treats and tea and everything and had a grand old time. But now, apparently, they're banning morning tea.
I hope you didn't eat that fucking fairy bread, Tom, because that means you're trans. That's how it happens. This is how it starts. Okay, mate? So...
Well, no, I don't think that was the concern that they had, even though as cartoonishly ignorant and evil as this decision is, that it wouldn't be too far a stretch. No, it seems like having a morning tea, just some nice tea and bickies to celebrate your fellow members of the Defence Force in all their queerness. That apparently detracts from our ability to worry about being bombed by China, it seems.
Well, Tom,
hang
on, mate. You got to think about it rationally. Okay, so if the entire army's at tea, it's a morning tea. The Chinese fucking know that the whole ADF is at tea. That's when they're going to strike.
And what about Anzac Day, when they're all standing around talking silently?
They wouldn't do it on Anzac Day. That'd be fucked up. But
that'd be disrespectful.
We can't do a morning tea. The whole ADF's just taken offline for 15, 20 minutes. And then the Chinese drop a bomb, and then, and you spill tea all over yourself. Well, it just takes away from combat readiness, Tom. It makes total and complete sense. The army shouldn't be wasting its time commenting on social issues. Just an article from 2017, Army Chiefs warning to troops, domestic abusers can't be trusted on the battlefield. It's the same Angus Campbell said to his troops on Wednesday in 2017, that he promoted a campaign within the force to reduce domestic violence. They don't have time for these social campaigns, for PC nonsense culture, except for the times previously when they have had campaigns to promote social issues and social cohesiveness by the same people, okay?
So just for context, so it was the chief of the Defence Force and Defence Secretary.
Yeah, Angus Campbell and whoever the other guy was.
Someone else. Greg
Moriarty.
Moriarty. And the quotes are...
So, do we know it was actually him? Or maybe it was Sherlock's nemesis. And this was all a big ploy to get Sherlock out of hiding. You never know.
Good work.
He's sneaky.
That was a literature reference, guys.
Long game. This is how we appeal to the kids with Sherlock Holmes references.
Most kids are like, who's Sherlock Holmes? Is there like, I don't know.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Cumberpatch.
Patch.
A dragon. The quote goes, in this statement, the memorandum, or whatever you want to call it, issued out, Defence represents the people of Australia.
And no people of Australia are gay, trans, intersex. There are none of them whatsoever.
Must at all times be focused on our primary mission to protect Australia's national security interests. We must not be putting effort into matters that distract us from this. To meet these important aims, changing language protocols and those events such as morning teas where personnel are encouraged to wear particular clothes in celebration are not required and should cease.
But these are, this is, as you said, Adam, this is so hypocritical because it's like something that the ADF has obviously been deliberately pursuing as a strategy is celebrating inclusivity and diversity in order to attract people to the Defence Force, because guess what? They need people in the Defence Force. And it turns out if you go, we only want a bunch of white psychopathic young men who watch Jarhead on a loop in the army, turns out that might affect your fucking recruiting numbers. So,
so they put this statement out. If it's come from nowhere, the question being is,
what's changed?
What's changed?
But,
I don't know.
But this is from
maybe a new defence minister.
Have a look. I'm on the Defence Jobs Australia YouTube page. If you look at all of their fucking content, it is all geared towards diversity, women. So Army, women and girls in science. NAIDOC Week 2020, benefits of a role in the ADF, featuring a woman on the cover. Women in the Army, equal pay. Women in the Army, work-life balance. And then that's just Army. Navy Chief, Bianca. Navy Marine Technician, Brittany. Navy Cryptologic Systems Operator, Jen. Navy Electronics Technician, Corinne. There is not a single, for the Army being so full of white dudes, I am struggling to find a single one on this fucking YouTube page. It has clearly been the stated mission in the Defence Force of late to try and appeal to more diverse areas of Australian society. And what's changed? Peter Dutton's now in charge of... the portfolio.
Not just Peter Dutton, Andrew Hastie, who's a former captain in the Army, is the assistant, I think, Defence Minister. Have I got that correct? I'm pretty sure that's right.
I can look that up.
So, and they are both what you'd say in the broad church of the Australian Liberal Party, and it's a broad church. It's like sort of from here to here.
Such a big church.
These are what we would call some of the more conservative members, shall we say, of that party.
Yeah, the batshit side of the church. You're correct that Andrew Hastie is the Assistant Minister for Defence.
Now, it's funny because it's almost like the ADF's marketing team and the recruitment team, and they've actually got, I think, a group or a committee or something that meets and discusses these things. It's almost like they've done too good a job, because it's almost like Peter Dutton's picked up the Defence, Instagram account on a Monday morning or something.
What the fuck is this? Carol, get in here.
Campbell. It's gone, buddy.
What the fuck?
Angus,
Angus,
what the fuck is going on here? There's a woman of colour on the front page of this fucking... They look like they're camping, having an excellent time. The Army is not about that, okay? The Army is about murdering defenceless civilians in Afghanistan. That is the mission.
That is literally one of the things Andrew Hastie has been sort of associated with in the past, where he's been focused on... And apparently he said this at
our core... This is like a month or so ago. Our core mission is about delivering violence. It's like our job, our number one job is killing people real good. We haven't got time for this shit. Like, you're the one that's bringing it up, Andrew.
At the end of the day, though, this is so like. Does that therefore mean all morning teas are off? Like, does Jeff get a morning tea for his birthday now, or is that
Jeff.
like no?
Yeah, exactly. So it's
Sorry,
like,
mate,
all right,
sucked in.
I hope Anzac Day and Anzac Bickies are cancelled now as a result of this. We can't be distracted by having a nice event where biscuits are served in celebration of the army. China might invade. Like, we can't.
It's just like, but like the Defense Force is also just like a workplace like any other workplace. And like workplaces have all of these things where it's like, we're celebrating Are You Okay Day at work and we're checking in on people's mental health. And like, this is just like workplace things like, oh, we're going to have a morning tea. Those who care about diversity and inclusiveness, like you should turn up and support your mates who are part of these groups because that is just a rational human thing to do. Like these are just things that officers do, let alone...
Not a morning tea.
Yes.
Who's going to say no to the free bickies, right? Who's going to say no to that?
Yeah. What is the problem with morning tea? As though you would be like, I've just I'm going to be honest, fucking hated queers before this, but I had a tea with them and I'm just going to put on a dress. Like, is that what they're worried is going to happen? Like the ADF's going to turn into some like far left student theater kind of fucking vibe. We're all going to become polyamorous thruples. As a result, the ADF's just going to become some LSD, hippie fuckfest as a result. Like, what do they think is going to happen?
I think Peter Dutton is just disappointed that maybe being defense minister is not all it's cracked up to be, and he's lost his position of just being able to like torture brown people offshore. So he's like, fuck, I need to find other things I can be cartoonishly evil about. And I'm banning biscuits.
Yeah.
There it is. No fun biscuits. No iced Vovos for you.
Look, I'm not going to lie. Being defense minister isn't all I thought it was going to be. Where's the chair of 1,000 swords, for example?
Yeah. Essentially.
Where are my dragons?
This story only broke, I think, like yesterday, and I just could not believe it. Like, it's just so ridiculously petty.
I wonder what the people
whose decision it was. Like, it wasn't. I don't think there's no indication that it was a direct memo from, Minister Potato Head himself. Like, I don't think there was like any sort of evidence of that. But it's telling.
Clearly, Angus Campbell is the
Andrew Campbell.
No, Angus Campbell. The
Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of Andrew Hasty. Sorry, too many A names in this story.
The defense chief. Clearly it's just him reading the room and sort of like going, okay, well, Peter Dutton, the fucking, Death Eater has swept in on a cloud of ice and I just need to sort of like fucking play ball if I want to keep my job. But like,
there are some articles that are literally saying it's a direct order from Peter Dutton as opposed to like
shit
else.
Okay,
yeah,
I hadn't read that, so
it's still sort of breaking, but that's what like the headline from the Guardian is: Peter Dutton ridiculed for ordering end to morning teas celebrating diversity.
I just want to know what did a morning tea do to you, Peter? Like,
can you show us here on the doll where the morning tea hurt you?
The morning tea hurt you.
Maybe cops, because he's a former cop, right? Maybe they just didn't have morning teas in that area, like that he was stationed in or something, and he's just like jealous that everyone else gets to have morning teas, but he never got to have morning teas. That's a lie, actually. Catering in federal politics, I'm sure the caterers do very well.
I'm sure it's fantastic.
I bet maybe just no one came to his like either leaving or birthday morning tea.
Oh,
like I imagine that's happened once. Don't you awe him?
Oh, Peter.
No one knows what it's like.
See, it's all related to
bad man.
All related to trauma, as the joke that your girlfriend Alice
had, and now I have trauma.
Now I have trauma. Yeah, so look, it's
good. Like, I'm glad we dispensed with that incredibly important issue of national security this week in the media. How good was it that we fucking put those marginalized LGBTQI people in their fucking place? Finally, the white man gets a say.
Meanwhile, there's an article. I'm just looking at Peter Dutton news stories at the moment. There's another article from The Australian 4 days ago. Man on a mission. Peter Dutton keeps defence staff at arm's length. Peter Dutton has insulated his ministerial office from interference by defence, accepting only the bare minimum of... I'm not going to read the rest of that, but... So that was from the Australian 4 days ago. Meanwhile, he's also sending out memorandums to be like, bro, no morning teas.
Yeah, no morning teas.
There's also other stuff with Peter Dutton at the moment about his role in the whole Huawei 5G ban. Apparently, he threatened to leave cabinet when Malcolm Turnbull was thinking of a more sort of maybe
what a loss.
risk-adverse approach to the whole national telecommunications situation a couple of years ago. Malcolm Turnbull has gone, I have no recollection of that.
I love that these people who are the same side of politics that will call us snowflakes and like complain about cancel culture are the same people who like get triggered by a fucking morning tea and cancel it. Like it is just like, you know, they complain about the culture wars, but then they are the ones who will like go out of their way to wage a fucking culture war because it's the only thing that they can win on. Like on economic policy, on how to handle the coronavirus and all that sort of stuff. The Australian populace and populations around the world have responded by swinging left on a bunch of issues, income support.
Everyone's like, oh, what is this wonderful thing that they invented after the war?
Who is this John Maynard Keynes? And what does he have to say about me as a poor schlub actually having money in my pocket? What's going on there? But like, populaces all around the world are overwhelmingly swinging left on economic issues. And I guess the Conservatives are just like, all we have left is the Mr. Potato Head stuff, I guess. It's like whinging about culture war stuff. Like, you know, and Dr. Zeus. Like, these are the only things that they've got left in the toolkit to sort of whip out is just complaining about culture war bullshit to try and distract us from the fact that none of us like any of their policies, as it turns out.
It's not as bad here, though, as it is perhaps overseas. So in the United States, for instance, it's a lot more... Cancel culture is something that's like, you know, discussed very... there's a lot there. It's a little bit separate, different topic. But the point being is overseas. Yeah. I'm trying to do a segue here. It's working out well.
I'll let you. But watch yourself.
It works great when you point it out. When you explain the joke, it always 100% makes the joke better.
Tom, look, as they said to us in theatre school, if you just say it's very Brechtian, get away with it. Yeah. The signpost, everything. So that's a theatre reference for everyone at home.
Didactic as fuck.
Yep.
No one listening to this later will appreciate my baller silent scream joke that I just made.
Tom was doing a silent scream, which is it's a thing from Brecht. You don't need to understand it.
Brecht's wife revolutionized theatre by screaming without making any noise. It was a huge deal at the time. Anyway,
trust
Adam's
us.
Segue.
All of these jokes are fucking hilarious. Trust us.
These are all great. Someone listening is crying with laughter because they too got a degree in "Do you want fries with that?" Anyway,
or more likely, just crying.
I literally watched a TV show the other night, and it's a wonderful TV show.
Other than figuratively?
Literally. Stateless.
Hang on. He used it correctly, Tom. You can't shit stare on that point. He used the term literally correctly.
He used it correctly, but I feel using it's a bit of a tautology in that can you figuratively watch a TV show?
No, you can't.
In my mind, Tom.
Why'd you say it then?
It was redundant, but it was correct.
The best kind of correct.
Technically correct. So you were literally watching a television show and...
This is all a sidebar, by the way, not part of the segue. Stateless on Netflix, Australian TV show about immigration, and it's actually based on a true story. Really good to see. There is a point, though, in that show where a character literally just walks into the sea and just starts swimming. And then you're like, oh, and it just cuts, and you're like, cool, did she just that was the
did they drown? Like what?
And then an episode later, they cut back and they're like, she's in hospital afterwards, and she's like, "Oh, I went for a swim." They're like, "You didn't go for a swim, though, did you, darling?"
Oh, right. Sorry, I thought you were going to say like next episode, she just arrives at a new beach, being like, "I've just swum from WA to."
Boy, are my arms tired.
Yeah, man, it made it to Kuala Lumpur.
It kind of cuts it away because you kind of think that like maybe her walking into the sea directly correlates to where she is now, which is in an immigration detention center in the middle of the desert. You're like, well, maybe they picked her up on a boat or something, and she swam from Queensland through Darwin somehow. Anyway, it's a weird cut.
I thought you were going to say, and then 4 seasons later, she arrived at her destination like Gendry from Game of Thrones.
Literally.
She just started rowing and we never saw her again and we assumed everything was fine.
Right. Comment in the chat just turned up that I just want to draw attention to because it's a compliment for me. Alana says, I'm rocking the beanie. Thank you, Alana. It is cold. So, yeah. I just thought...
You're on and I'm basically sweating in this room at the moment, so...
the computer generates a lot of heat. If you've got a closed room, you've got an air-cooled computer. It's good. It's basically a little space heater.
Yeah, they are lovely heaters when they want to be.
We should rock the beanie more often. You look good in it, man.
Thanks, man.
Give you 10 points on that one.
You definitely look at least 23 or 24.
Wonderful.
Shaves the years off.
I amazingly get that a lot. I got like my 10-year anniversary thing at work the other day. Like they just have a weekly thing of like who's hitting their anniversary milestones each week. And apparently people check it because I was inundated with messages from co-workers being like, congrats on 10 years. I'm like, wow, you guys actually checked that and felt the need to like, I got a badge. I also have one for my 5 years. Yay.
You didn't get like a financial incentive
or anything?
No, nothing like that. Maybe you get that at like 30 years. Who knows? But so many people were like, how have you been here for 10 years? And it's like, I'm 31. Like, I started at, like, 21 when I was, like, in uni. And they're like, you're 31. I'm like, yeah.
You know what it is? It's you're wearing a beanie. You're wearing a university sweatshirt. People look, you've got a baby face. People just assume that you're a child because you look like one.
Everyone's like, are you, like, 23? I'm like, no, but thank you.
47, but thanks.
Forever, Tom. You could be like Tom Cruise, just, like, forever young.
He doesn't look his age. He doesn't look young though. Anyway, Adam, you were trying to get to talking about what's going on in the States at the moment, and we somehow talked about Australian television, our uni degrees, and then me getting a badge at work.
It was a hell of a segue.
We're bad at this. Anyway.
I don't give a fuck. Yeah, United States. So we were speaking about how culture wars are a thing. They're a thing in the US. Part of that culture war is obviously the whole Trumpism aspect, where
what is it?
The big lie, George. The big lie.
Who are we talking about?
Trumpism. It's this Donald, I believe it's pronounced. J. Trump. I think it's like a French sort of.
Sorry, it doesn't ring any bells.
Yeah.
What is he? Okay. What's his story? What does he do?
Well, he was the former president of the United States who instigated an insurrection and coup, but now denies it.
Okay, but who is he now?
He's literally nobody.
Nobody. There's nobody.
He's a sad sack.
He's a sad old man who lives in a golf course.
Yeah. Depending on who you talk to, though, he is also the second coming of Christ and the QAnon savior that will. What was the thing he's meant to do? He's meant to
save the world from democratic pedophiles who crack children's heads open and drink their adrenochrome.
To destroy some kind of underground ring of pedophiles run by the wealthy. Which the irony of that is just fantastic, given like they're only kind of half wrong. Like, I'm sure there is this underground pedophile ring, but, they're not going to save them from it. They're kind of, like, associated with all the people we know to be involved.
Yeah, if you're looking for the underground... if you're looking for the underground pedophile ring, Donald, you might want to start with your buddy Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, right? And all the people following QAnon. It's like, no, Trump's not going to rescue you from all that. He was, like, best buds with them.
Despite being out of office for now over 100 days now,
nearly months. 6 months.
The whole thing won't sort of go away about the whole election being rigged thing, and there's an actual review going on at the moment in Arizona, where in one particular county when it's the county with like 2.1 million people, so it's one of the larger areas of Arizona. They're basically the Senate, so that's basically like the state parliament, I'm assuming, state Senate, the equivalent. Yeah, they've sort of overridden the county and been like, no, we have to review the vote count, basically.
Well, this is the third or the fourth audit recount sort of situation that they've been doing. The difference between this with this audit is that, well, it's nonsense. So it's been conducted by a firm called Cyber Ninjas, the CEO and founder of which is like a noted sort of Trump big lie supporter, QAnon believer person.
Seems legit.
And basically the whole thing is a sham. They're, running votes under black lights to try and find. This is the whole thing. Like Rachel Maddow's done some fantastic reporting.
Why black lights? What are
Like,
they imagine has
get this.
happened to
Get
the
this.
vote?
Get this. It's even fucking crazier than you think it is. They're looking for bamboo because the votes were shipped in from China, and China equals bamboo. They don't have normal paper in China. They've got bamboo and panda bears. So checks out.
Yeah, Adam, it's as crazy as your facial expression is showing right now.
They're looking for
This is
watermarks.
breaking your brain.
They're looking for watermarks because the real votes wouldn't have watermarks, and like none of them have watermarks because of course they don't. That's not a thing.
None of them are made of bamboo.
The actual crazy part of this is that these people have no fucking clue whatsoever as to how to conduct an audit, and it's been paid for with like real voters' money. It's going to this scam count, essentially. And they're not conducting it in a way that preserves the chain of evidence. The chain of evidence for these votes has now been broken because of how they've handled this process. And for the first couple of days, there was a reporter who asked to be in the room just as a citizen, not as a reporter, just to sort of observe the process. And she noticed that people were marking up ballots with black and blue pens. And she's like, hey, if you know anything about like recounts and audits of votes, you should know that you should be doing this in green or red ink because the machines will read blue or black ink. And you could conceivably alter the actual physical paper ballots in this process. And they're like, no, I'm pretty sure we're doing it right. Anyway, 2 days later, they announced, yep, actually, you guys are right. We're going to be doing it with green and red pens from now on. The machines that they've used are now no longer acceptable to be used in future Arizona elections because they can't get, because they've had complete access to these machines. The recommendation now is that these machines be decommissioned because we can't guarantee that they haven't been tampered with because of how shoddy and like unofficial this process has been. It's basically a bunch of Trump supporters have gone in there and just fucking done whatever they thought was necessary to try and find the fraud which doesn't exist in this election in order to cast doubt on Joe Biden's victory. Like the whole thing is a scam.
This started from like, and this is the other weird thing is that the people in the county, the Republicans in that county,
yes,
are actually like, it was fine. Like we literally, like, it's fine. There's no problem. But the people above them in the Senate, state Senate, are the ones actually instigating it. So this all started from a letter, right, from State Senator Karen Pham that implied that someone in the county had illegally removed critical election files, plural, from equipment and software that the Senate had subpoenaed for examination.
Which was just wrong, by the way. Which was just like straight up incorrect. They're like, you've deleted the files. Trump goes, see, they deleted the files. I told you, it's fucking fraud. And everyone's like, the files are right here. What are you talking about? You obvious idiot. You clear and unadulterated black tar heroin strength moron. What are you talking about? All the files are here. What are you talking about?
The county's top election official, Stephen Riker, or Ricker, how you pronounce that, called Mr. Trump's comments unhinged.
These are all, because it's a thoroughly Republican state, all of the people that are on the board of supervisors for this election, most of them are Republicans. And they're like, guys, we're on your side. We are also unhappy that Joe Biden won. We are on your side, but I'm going to be clear with you. Fraud did not happen. And everyone's like, yeah. Okay, whatever you say, Jack. But fraud. Like, it's this, and it's gone through multiple recounts, multiple audits. They're literally looking for fucking bamboo and watermarks in the paper. There was some other thing that they were looking for as well, which is just fucking nonsense. Like, it has been a broken, dumb process to the extent that even now Republicans on the state supervisory board are speaking out against this, like, obviously corrupt process. But the fact is like, it seems as though other Republican counties are looking to take up this as the model going forward. The whole point is not to necessarily find anything wrong with the election and then ipso facto Donald Trump is actually the next president again. Like, because that's not what would happen. Even if he lost, even if somehow he didn't win Arizona by 45,000 votes, which he did, Joe Biden, even if Arizona was flipped to Donald Trump, Donald Trump would still not be the president of the United States, right? So the point isn't to actually reverse the election. The point is to, on a nationwide basis, undermine the idea that undermine the idea that elections can be fairly held in America. They are setting up trying to steal the election in 2024.
Future precedents,
And by base and it's completely unsurprising that in recent polling, 2/3 of Republicans believe that Joe Biden is not the rightful president of the United States. Like, it is unsurprising that the populace believes all of these things because they and Donald Trump have been consistently promoting the big lie that he won the 2020 election, despite all evidence to the contrary. They are whipping up their own moral panic and frenzy. And
it's literally what the Nazis did to get into power. It's the same kind of thing. You just start using the systems as they exist and tweak it.
I hate to invoke that comparison because it's so loaded. But yes, when you are making a parallel information universe because it suits your political ends, like, this is 1984 territory. Don't believe who you're going to believe, me or your lying eyes. Like, it really is that level of corruption of epistemology, of a shared, the way we gain knowledge between the two sides, Republican and Democrat, is broken. The way that Republicans gain knowledge and understand facts in this world is broken. It makes no sense. And not only have they done this to themselves, past tense, it looks like they're continuing to do this to themselves in the future, because by indulging this big lie, it only gives rise to the potential for Donald Trump to run and win again in 2024. And even if he doesn't win, they'll just say the whole fucking thing was stolen. It's like, it really is this like historical grand narrative that they're paving the way for. And they're going to roll this out in other states.
Yeah.
That's the point of this, is to undermine the idea of democracy nationwide. It's fucking scalable as fuck. The guys in Silicon Valley are just coming in their pants over how fucking scalable this is.
I know we said we weren't going to talk about it because it's sort of like a week and a half old in terms of the news, but it's related to the whole Liz Cheney being dumped by the Republican Party in the federal aspect. Because
just for a bit of clarification there, Liz Cheney, she was the number three Republican, has spoken out against Trump and the big lie multiple times since the election. It was so weird that Liz Cheney, after nearly being murdered on January 6th, would dare to speak out against the, Capitol insurrection that tried to murder her. What craziness is this? So she was dumped by her party last week. We didn't get a chance to talk about it, for supporting, for being anti-Trump and anti the big lie. And when I saw that headline, I was like, I literally said out loud to my wife, I was like, the Republican Party has just sold its soul. Like, I know they'd sort of done that in slices over the years with Donald Trump, but I was like, oh no, this is the point where they made their Faustian pact. They're like, we're ready for round 2 with this bitch. Like, we are deliberately choosing to invoke this, you know what I mean? Like,
it's literally just, and the comparison I'm drawing here is it's all set up for the next election, because what they're terrified of, because they know Trump's going to run whatever, come hell or high water.
He's going to run as something.
What they're terrified of is he's going to run his own ticket or run as his own party,
as an independent,
and he's going to split the base. And that's the biggest fear with them, right? So they're trying.
I honestly
don't
pick
a side.
The Republican,
and they're picking the Trump side.
The Republican base is not even like a side of the Republican Party at this point. It is the party. If Donald Trump ran as an independent, I think he'd have as much of a chance of winning as he does running as a fucking Republican. Like, that is how much the party has become the party of Trump in the last couple of years, is that it's not that the Republican base and there's this side of the party and that side of the party and it's a broad tent, and like, this, it was what Don Jr. said, I think, the night of the election in 2020, is like, this is Donald Trump's party now.
Yeah.
Sorry, George. No, I think you need to rephrase that. He said, "It's Donald Trump's party now."
Where he was like wide-eyed at like 4 a.m., just like going at it, right?
Wide-eyed and sweating and red in the
It's like,
face.
bro, you need to get off the bumps, man. You need to calm down.
Yeah, it's in a couple fewer bags, Donald Jr. I think you need to chill out, bro.
You also see, no, this is more just like, these are a bit spicy. That some of Obama's comments about Trump came out.
Oh, he called him a corrupt motherfucker behind closed doors.
Someone's a book is being published or something like that, just about the Democratic campaign to defeat Donald Trump, and the author quotes former President Barack Obama as speaking to donors and behind closed doors in the Democratic campaign and saying some rather colourful things that I can't quite picture Obama saying. I was I wish this was out in the public. Like, I mean, Barack Obama's a problematic individual, but if he came out and said all these things like that Trump is a, quote, racist, sexist pig and a fucking lunatic... And then also like referring to like the investigation into like Russian election interference and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, saying that corrupt motherfucker. Amazing.
Was this on his podcast with Bruce Springsteen? Is this Obama let loose? Is just Obama after dark doing renegades with Bruce Springsteen, really letting loose, having a couple of daddy juices.
Yeah, be pretty great.
That's a podcast I would listen to.
Well, George, there are podcasts that people do listen to. Not ours, of course.
No, but, certainly not.
Podcasts or other streams online, perhaps, different kinds of streams. And that's, been enabled through new platforms such as Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Which, when I say new, I mean, they've been around for a while, but I guess they're newer than YouTube or that kind of thing.
Whatever you say, Grandpa. Fucking millennials, you're so old. Not like us Gen Zers with who hang out, who totes... ship, bay. I don't know what the kids are talking about.
Keep saying words, bro.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, hashtag RIP me.
I believe the big one would be that speech, George, was a big oof.
Oof. I don't know if that's good or that's.
I'm gonna yeet you out of here, bro.
Yeah. Got to just yeet that opinion into the bin.
Yeet it out.
Now, sorry, are you using yeet in the sense of like to defenestrate or to like how is the verb yeet actually utilized in that context?
I believe yeet. My understanding of yeet could be way off base because I am not a Zoomer and I am in fact an ancient millennial apparently. It's the opposite of yoink. Right? Is how I've had it described to me. Like, to yoink something is to be like, yoink, I've got it. To yeet something is to send it away.
To throw something.
To throw it away.
Out of there. Just get it out.
Yeah. You just yeet something.
So for example...
It's like throwing a basketball.
Could I use it in context so you can tell me if I'm using it correctly?
Okay, go for it.
Joe Biden yeeted Donald Trump out of the presidency.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
guys.
Although it wasn't so much of a yeet as more as it was a groaning,
an oof,
dragging, kicking, and screaming.
Yes, it's probably
kicking, screaming, pants down because he was on the toilet angrily tweeting at the time they got him in the chains to drag him out.
Less of a yeet, more of a
Anyhow, we were leaning to be talking.
Yar.
Yeah. We were slowly trying to get to the point of talking about Twitch. So yeah, for the past couple episodes, we've just had a bit of a chuckle hopping onto Twitch because, we're about to start up our stream and the homepage has been consistently recommending to us a specific streamer. Their name is Amaranth. And they are big in the hot tub streaming meta, I believe it's referred to as. They call them the meta around Twitch. It's an odd sort of phrase. Anyway, because, long story short, that Twitch has had a very complicated relationship with content that is deemed to be explicit in a sexual context, of, say, if there were people, streaming in low-cut tops with lots of cleavage or whatever, there's complaints and bans and all that sort of stuff. But they did have rules around, you can appear in a bikini or something like that in the correct context if you're in a swimming pool or a hot tub or at the beach. So lots of people dragged hot tubs or blow-up pools into their studios and do all their gaming in their bikinis to kind of get around that. It's very clever. The woman's a genius.
Seems
and
legit.
She makes absurd amounts of money. Anyway, that changed this week. We stumbled into a story, us sort of commenting on that.
We're like, why are we this popular? It's like, well, Adam, I don't know if you're rocking an amazing set of cans under that shirt, but if you've been holding out on us this entire time and we could have been capitalizing on the hot tub meta,
I was going to say
I'm pretty disappointed in you.
32 double reasons why why she is popular and we are not.
Anyway, the point is the point is that
her breasts. I'm saying she has large breasts.
Yes, yeah, we got that.
Does she?
We've been
I don't know
having
if that's
a chuckle.
clear, but
Yep, totally clear. Remember, explaining it makes it better.
Because she's streaming in a bikini.
Yes.
And she has large
correct.
breasts.
Yes.
Pretty. Let's put it that way.
And you got to give the people what they want. And what they want is not 3 mid-30s white guys talking about politics. What they want is girls in hot tubs playing Pokemon Snap.
Yeah. And you know what? I can't blame them.
I can't blame them.
It's what I'd watch instead.
If I was a 14-year-old boy, I'd be watching 12 hours straight.
We would just, we were talking about it just sort of before each show these past few weeks, just because we thought it's just a little funny. But Amaranth popped into the tech news space this past week because Twitch.
I thought you were going to say popped an implant.
No. Twitch has decided to pull her ability to run ads on her Twitch channel with no warning, with just absolutely no notice. And it's based on the fact that some advertisers, or I think one advertiser, she said, but she was not told by Twitch who the advertiser was. But one advertiser just complained, was just like, nope, I don't want to be running ads for my product or service or whatever on this stream. I deem it not advertiser friendly. And as a result, they've locked ad ability on her account. And I think it's still locked because her stream at the moment has ad free written in it. So yeah, I think that she still can't make ads from the platform. And she's quoted in a story on Kotaku as saying that sort of prior to this happening, she was making about $1,000 a day from Twitch ads.
By the way,
is a lot.
Caitlin, can I just say that it's the dream. You're living the dream, Caitlin.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
She is very, very successful in what she's doing.
Twitch.
And
that's just one of her sources of revenue. She's got an OnlyFans, she's got an Instagram, she's got YouTube.
So that's why
she's got all these different sort of diversified sources of
income. Digitally enabled, diversified.
So that's why she's going to be fine as a result of this. But just purely based on the ads on Twitch, she's making $1,000 a day. That is
big hit. It's a big hit.
You're making $300,000 a year.
It's a huge hit. But that's the point. And this speaks to a broader issue because it's around things like YouTube and all that sort of stuff as well. The concept of being advertiser friendly is very vague in all the terms and conditions of these channels, where they don't really like to explicitly say what they consider to be sexual content, outside of it being pornographic, right? So.
Can I just ask a question? So,
sure, Adam.
Adam Christopher Doreen, go ahead.
So, thank you. With the ads, is it like YouTube where in the middle of the stream, they'll just get a random ad selected by the streaming service? Or are these ads that she has an agreement with?
There's two different kinds of things. So
the first one.
It's like a pre-roll. So you've clicked on the stream, you'll get an ad, and then you start watching the stream. Obviously, because the whole thing's live, you can't have mid-roll ads or things like that because it would interrupt the stream. So
in theory, what's happened is that when the advertising company, which has a thing with Twitch, they've gone through their analytics and they've gone, what did we get the hits on? And it's been this channel that have then gone, I have a problem with that, and they've lodged that with Twitch.
And they've gone by the famous advertising adage, sex doesn't sell anything.
Yes.
And they've said, this material is not suitable for our content and we don't want it on. Now, there's also things that you can do as a Twitch streamer to manually insert advertisements into your thing. She tried doing
like
that.
Sponsorship sort of stuff.
No. I'm not talking about native advertising. I'm saying like manually running an ad or an ad break kind of thing. She tried to do that and it wouldn't let her. So like clearly it's been a deliberate.
They have locked her account being able to do it.
Yes.
Yeah. And the extra kind of crazy part about this, which is what makes it really fucked, is the no warning. Like, so they have really vague rules around like what could be in breach of this kind of stuff. And when you breach those incredibly vague terms, they just pull it. So if she hadn't diversified her income streams through all these multiple platforms, it would really fuck her over for them to do this. And it happened. And so luckily she's like one of the most successful streamers kind of going around at the moment. So then she can still continue to do what she does for a living and be like not suddenly be without an income stream. But it happens to like smaller channels, all this sort of stuff. The almighty algorithm and the vague just the vague rules that these companies can kind of really hold over people who build their livelihoods around using the platform. It's really fucked.
This is originating though from like apparently a thing where they're experimenting. So Twitch hasn't really had to deal with this so much before, I'm assuming. So they're only now experimenting with what they call a brand safety score. And it's the concept being is to make sure ads are appropriately matched to the right communities on Twitch. But it sounds like it's an evolving process and they haven't really worked through.
Yeah, and it's always an evolving process. And the problem, and they love evolving processes, right? Like, you know, Google, YouTube, all this sort of, and Twitch and all this sort of stuff. They love an evolving process to be like, oh yeah, we're just trying to like test to see what fits and see what's best for everybody. But like, you know, it has huge ramifications on people's livelihoods.
It's
and if they fuck it, it fucks people.
It's something that Sam Harris, the podcaster, author, neuroscientist, public intellectual guy, talks a lot about, is that he said, I've gone to great lengths to make my podcast, my content, my meditation app, all of these various sort of branches of my business. I've gone to great lengths to make myself uncancelable by having like direct revenue subscription model with my listeners and all this sort of stuff, which is great if you've already got a platform when you've got 1 million people listening to you. And you can say, hey, I want to own all of the various silos. I don't want to rely on a platform like Twitch or YouTube to just pull the plug arbitrarily if and when they feel like it. But for up-and-coming streamers or people in the content space that are wanting to make a real business out of it, which is, I mean, if people, if tens of thousands of people started listening to the show straight away and we could, monetize it in a way that felt ethical, that's what I'd like to do with the show, like to make a living off making the content that we work so hard on week in, week out. Like that is the dream for a lot of people. So it does seem kind of arbitrary and cruel to be like, oh yeah, you can still stream on the platform. You're not breaking any rules, but like, we're not going to allow you to make money on it.
Yeah,
because reasons. We'll
advertisers don't like being associated with your breasts.
But like also they'll advertise adult content like condoms. They'll still advertise things which like touch on sex, and there's no problem with that. Those are happy to accept those advertising dollars, but I don't know. It harkens back to a sort of a very old double standard that we have around women and sexuality, and like look at violent video games and violence in movies and things like that. These are things which are fine and acceptable, but as soon as things touch on sex, like everyone starts clutching their pearls and getting all, moral panicky about it. It is a double standard which goes back a long way. Like
I think there is like a point because Twitch is like Fortnite, for instance, Fortnite streaming, which is a younger audience, sort of below 15, are using Twitch and they're engaging with content on Strip. They're streaming themselves on Twitch.
But either it's allowed on the platform and it's monetizable, or it shouldn't be allowed on the platform and it's not monetizable. Yeah. So either you say this is sexual content,
it comes back to the
encumbrance
being on the service, right? So the actual website needs to, like, it's not enough to be able to go, we're still figuring it out. They need to figure it out, and they need to be firm on it.
You're a multi-billion-dollar business owned by Amazon. You should have figured it out by now.
And then there's also like there's more sort of like nefarious ways that stuff like this has been implemented as well, where like a lot of YouTubers that I watch regularly have started using clever ways to silence or like to sort of censor any like curse words. Where they start like either but usually not even like at first they were noticing that the algorithm was reworking itself to kind of not show as many ads or like fewer ads and all that sort of stuff, or like demonetizing them if swear words were detected in their content, or that sort of stuff. And then they started going, oh, well, okay, I guess we'll bleep anytime someone swears. And the algorithm started to recognize the bleep sound.
Really?
Yeah. Like
without any user input, just like with the on the sound.
Well, I don't know if it's like user input at YouTube's end maybe, but they started going, oh, so content that has a in there, they're like, oh, so all right, that's maybe not advertiser friendly.
I'll stop.
And all that sort of stuff. So then, I think like Jay's 2 cents, the tech YouTuber, was an interesting one where he would just like, if he says shit, it'll just have his own voice going stuff over the top. Like they just insert other words because the algorithm's not that clever yet. But all that, so like, just all these ways that their whole business models.
You can do that on CBS. You can swear without, and then it gets bleeped. You know what I mean? You can do that on fucking daytime network television. What? That's crazy.
Not being controlled by an algorithm. The ads, right? Those are contracts and all that sort of stuff, like written down, right?
You remember, like when this was happening with YouTube, and you had like Philip DeFranco and PewDiePie and all these big streamers at the time. This is like 10 years ago or less than that maybe, but where YouTube changed their algorithm and changed the way that, not only that, but also the way the ads were, the amount of revenue coming from the ads. And it just sort of like, these guys were like, well, they've got no way out. Like that is their business model. It's the same thing. Yeah. It's still happening now on Twitch. And you're right. It's like, well, if Amazon, like they've got a fucking space company, for God's sake. They've got like
as
like
a platform. Work this out. As a platform, you should understand that the reason that your platform is popular and exists is in part because of the creators that have come to your platform and put the interesting content on there that people want to see. Like YouTube would be less of a good thing without people like Philip DeFranco and Casey Neistat and who's that guy who does the photography stuff? Peter, whatever his name is.
Not sure, but yeah.
YouTube would be less good without the people who create all of the content that goes onto YouTube that people want to watch. And so people have built businesses around this process of creating content and putting it up there. You can't just fucking pull the rug out from under people with no warning whatsoever and say, hey, sorry, I know you hired 10 people to work on your business with you creating videos, but actually, we've decided we're going to pay you nothing at all and go fuck yourself based on arbitrary, opaque rules. Like, it's just obviously unfair. You as a platform have a responsibility to the people who make your platform valuable, the content creators, to, I don't know, to fill them in, to work with them around these rules, to, I don't know, notify them of changes if they're coming in advance. Like,
if you are doing content that will result in your ability to make income to be pulled, you can't just pull it and wait for them to figure it out.
Which is what happened.
She only figured it out because, she was earning less. Suddenly, $1,000 a day wasn't happening, right? So, now I guess in sort of, cohesiveness of the story and credit to Twitch, there has been a follow-up in this instance. So while I don't think Amaranth is able to like run ads, it seems at the moment, at least the stream she's been doing for the last 10 and a half hours, says it's ad-free.
I know we're making fun of boobies and such. She is fucking working hard for this money. You know what I mean? Like,
it's exhausting. I did a 20-hour stream once, and it was hard. Yes. I played video games for 20 straight hours, and it was work. Yes. Like, it was hard work.
You got to be switched on, right? You got to engage. And these people are engaging with their listeners. Like,
you are performing a durational performance is what is happening. Like,
it's a lot of work.
It's work. It is real work. And like, whilst you can, you could people make arguments as to the validity of this content. Is it just capitalizing on horny young boys on Twitch at the little 14-year-old? But whatever it is, it's
I
content.
think that's a separate conversation.
That's separate. Yeah. You are creating content, and there are people out there who want to watch this content. If you have eyes, you are creating money and value for someone. That's the whole advertising model. That's how all of these businesses are predicated on, is monetizing attention. So if you are successfully doing that and it's within the terms of use, and they can make their terms of use whatever they want them to be, right? It is a private company, but as long as they're clear and people can abide or not abide by those terms of use, that's the important thing. But it seems like Twitch wants to have a few bob each way. They want to say, we want to demonetize you, but we don't want to kick you off because you haven't actually violated the terms of use.
You bring people to Twitch. Right. These people have accounts to watch you and stuff.
And it just feels too sexy for me. Like that seems to be the argument.
So they have, as we alluded to at the top of the show, they've introduced a new genre to Twitch, which is the pools, hot tubs, and beaches category.
The beaches
one.
Beaches.
What about baths?
Yeah,
a
bath is a type of pool, I would argue.
Yes, interesting. But there was a part of the update that they have made in terms of like in their response to this that I thought was rather interesting, and it's still like it's a good thing that they've sort of pointed it out in this way. We have to actually see them do some action though for it to mean anything. So yeah, they said, quote, while we have guidelines about sexually suggestive content, being found to be sexy by others is not against our rules.
Right.
And Twitch will not take enforcement action against women or anyone on the service for their perceived attractiveness. So they then talk about in there that they say, streamers can appear in swimwear in contextually appropriate situations, such as in a hot tub or at the beach, etc. And for like people doing like body painting and writing and all that sort of stuff. So I think they are taking steps towards being more clear about like when we say sexually explicit content, we mean you can't just be doing amateur pornography live on Twitch, but you can be in a bikini in a hot tub and people will think you are hot and attractive and sexy, but that doesn't break the rules. Like,
no bonus here. No bonus on Twitch.
Yeah. So that's
is that an erection?
That is good. We'll see what happens.
User Tommy820C. We can see an erection. Guys, if you could just swat that house for us, please. Yeah, it's how do you control what someone else finds attractive? Like, it's completely fucking arbitrary. That's what I'm saying. It's this weird double standard that is obviously, and like it comes from a deep-seated misogyny, really. Like the way that women choose to display or treat their own bodies is like somehow a signal for other people's, sexual enjoyment or not. Like the responsibility is on the female for making me feel horny, right? That is the underlying idea throughout all of this. Now, obviously, she is in a bra. It is intended to be sexually suggestive, but like
it's a swim. Like she's in swimmers.
Like in this one in the article, it's not. It looks more like a lingerie than it does swimwear in this one that I'm looking at.
Well, that's a bikini.
God, she's got multiple.
Whatever. The point.
She's in a pool.
Yeah, the point is not.
That's just
it's
swimwear.
Not that. It's not like it. The point is, it doesn't violate the terms of service. There shouldn't be one rule for women and another for men. If there was a dude in board shorts, in a with his top off. In a hot tub, it would not even be a fucking question.
I think if you go to the Twitch hot tubs thing category now, I'm pretty sure there is a bloke in a hot tub just like hanging out. Yeah. So yeah, it cuts both ways.
The video may not be as well attended as some of the female ones, but it's you got to acknowledge that there is a double standard there that disproportionately disadvantages women, and that is part of a larger societal issue that we have around sexism and men feeling entitlement over prescribing the dress on women's bodies. Like it is a very 21st century manifestation of all of this, but it's a very old problem, right? Like, I never thought I'd get so excited about a Twitch hot tub streamer news story. It is really interesting. Like it does bring up a bunch of issues. Yeah.
And it ties into like discussions we've had many times of like the new forms of work.
Yes.
that people have. And so people build careers in this, and if the corporate overlords just pull their ability to earn money with no notice, that's not okay, whether you approve of the content they make or not.
Yes.
A little sci-fi in some regards. Like is it Black Mirror that's got
Black Mirror surely
an
is
episode about this? I don't know. Or maybe I'm thinking of maybe some what was the one with brain's gone.
Yeah,
anyway,
that one.
about it. Yeah, that one.
Without even knowing what you're talking about, I'm sure it's probably Black Mirror that you're referring to.
No, it's not Black Mirror. The one with it was
describe the thing.
Anthony Mackie's the current version of it. They cancelled it.
Altered Carbon.
Altered Carbon. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, there was threads of this through that as well. But anyway, it's just a weird sort of future that we live in. I think where as you said, people are making money in ways that you wouldn't have quite thought about before. I guess
my parents said, "Hop off the video games. You're wasting your life." Now there are video gamers out there. This woman, just off the ad revenue on her Twitch stream, is making $1,000 a day. Like, you know, these are real.
She's getting attack stuff, right?
Well, I don't know what she's doing on attack. I assume she complies with all the US duties and regulations, Adam. But these are real careers now, and you're talking about real people's businesses and livelihoods. It's not good enough to say like, we're just a fun tech startup company, move fast and break things. Hey, like you need a policy around this, and you need to apply that policy consistently. And it's a problem that doesn't just affect Twitch, but it also affects all of the major platforms are not doing this well. Content moderation, that is. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, they are all struggling with this issue. But on Twitter, it matters less because you're not monetizing the content, right? It's just a megaphone. It's a platform. Well, I think there was some tipping thing that I heard about that's going to come in recently.
Yeah.
But like Twitter is just a megaphone, right? Whereas these platforms where the finance aspect is built into it is integral to the functioning of the thing. Like you're talking about, as soon as you get to scalability, as soon as you get to plus 5,000 people, you're talking about a business. You're talking about people's livelihoods. I don't know. I find the whole thing really interesting. I'm curious to see where it goes. I hope Twitch pulls their shit together and comes up with something.
I think it's about, it comes down, for these platforms, it comes down to your purpose and your vision and what you want to be as a streaming service or a platform.
But you as the platform,
you then need to apply whatever that is consistently across the board with rigorous guidelines.
Yes, but the difficulty with a platform,
the
difficulty with a platform is not what you decide it's going to be. A platform is constituted. A platform or a marketplace model is predicated on the idea that there are suppliers, right? There are producers and then consumers. And you don't have control. Like the business model is you get a piece. Hang on. Yeah. You get a piece of what's created and the value that's transferred between these two parties. But you don't necessarily get final say over
the exact content,
because otherwise you're a publisher. You're the New York Times if that's the case. And this is a difficulty that none of the major tech companies have been able to resolve. So it's like
maybe they need to be publishers. That's the point. Like,
that's another discussion.
If Twitch doesn't want three blokes like us talking about politics on their thing, then they need to say so and define what it is they are selling.
I guess that's what I'm saying. If it's a platform model, you may be unhappy with the things that people choose to do on your platform, and that may not necessarily be your choice.
Well, I think it's probably one of those things where it's like they don't want to be publishers because there's a lot of responsibilities that come with being a publisher.
Exactly,
but I think we're increasingly getting towards a point where they really are at the end of the day.
We need a third model. We need something between
something else in between.
Platforms that have no fucking responsibility whatsoever as to what they publish, and publishers that have complete responsibility over everything that happens on their shit. There needs to be some sort of third way created.
So that's a legal framework that needs to be developed, right? So
this is what we're doing is obviously not working, right? So, and we've known that for a good 15 years. So maybe in the next decade or so, Congress will get onto it.
I don't know. With the media bargaining code here in Australia, maybe
we nailed it.
it.
Mate, we absolutely fucking nailed it. Rupert Murdoch got his 30 pieces of silver. Everyone's happy.
Anyway.
On that note.
On that note, we have been, we are, and we always will be Unnatural Selection. Make sure you visit us at our salubrious home on the web, unnaturalshow.com. Make sure you follow us on all the bullshit social medias that are ruining the world that have, do, or ever will exist at Unnatural Show. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and motherfucking TikTok. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at George Tsipos.
You can follow me on Twitter at Tom D. Heath.
Follow me on Instagram at AC Doreen.
You can follow us all down to my backyard where I've got a hot tub and a webcam set up. Let's do it, boys.
Shirt off? No? Okay.
Woo! Baby, got some hot stuff cooking this evening. Thanks for listening, guys. Extremely hot. 80 degrees Celsius. Really, it's almost too hot to get in. Thanks for listening, guys. Love your faces. We'll see you next week.
I really actually would love to be sitting in a hot tub right now, to be fair. Like, it would be amazing.